Some seeds are better adapted to certain places and conditions than others because of their unique characteristics. This wide variety of seeds' characteristics is a key source of resilience for food growers and food systems. But several factors such as prioritize commercial interests over traditional knowledge and practices, leading to a loss of seed diversity, national adaptation strategies and biodiversity plans frequently exclude or minimally involve indigenous groups, resulting in policies that do not adequately address their needs. These have contributed to the challenges they face in safeguarding seed biodiversity. As part of Braiding Food Systems Project, a research team constituted by a postdoctoral fellow, PhD and master students led by Dr. Silvia Sarapura, in the School of Environmental Design and Rural Development, University of Guelph implemented different activities including community gardens and seed lodges. One of the key activities for garden implementation was the seedling of introduced or recovered traditional seeds. The University of Guelph team produced the sowing seeds in the North Toolkit for First Nation gardeners. It was created as a support for community gardeners to know how to grow seeds and seedlings, keep and share traditional and new plants, and establish home and community gardens. The Thessaloniki First Nation Bioscience Center, located in the Thessalon town in northern Ontario, is part of Niginian Social Services Agency of the North Shore Tribal Council. As a partner of the Braiding Food Systems Project, they offered one of the 8 greenhouses and facilities to grow the seedlings. This is managed by the Niginian technical staff. On November 29, 2025, previous coordination with PhD Michelle Siener, Head of Research and Development for Anishinaabeg team. The university research team traveled to Riverside Town in northern Ontario to present the Braiding Food Systems Project to the Mamawen North Shore Tribal Council. Participants in the meeting included council members, Niginian technical and administration staff, representatives from 8 affiliated communities and key partners.
For children and youth learn. And we developed these toolkits. We will share with you, Michelle and Carrie, but we have some material we will share with you.
On March 5th and 6th, 2025, the Seedling Training started in the Thessaloniki First Nation Bio Center.
So for today's session, it's going to be like we are starting to learn a little bit about...
Participants included the garden stewards, Niginian technical staff, and key partners from the North Shore Tribal Council. This training program for 2 days is important because it will let they know the full process of sowing, growing, and caring for seedlings as they mature into fully grown plants.
So consider these type of seeds too.
Basically, the objective is to learn about seedling care, seed plant biology, and growing conditions to produce healthy and strong plants and to promote hands-on learning experience. The University of Guelph team employ the learning and action approach. Dr. Silvia Sarapura conceptualized learning as a cyclical and dynamic process that occurs from action, in action, and for action within participatory development initiatives. These concepts are particularly significant when considering the braiding of indigenous food systems with First Nations communities using participatory action research PAR and action learning frameworks. This process not only promotes food security and food sovereignty, but also focused indigenous epistemologies, governance structures, and relational accountability.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being with us.
This approach
today.
has 3 stages. In day March 1st, 5th, 2025, they initiated the first stage learning for action, welcoming and introducing of all the participants lead by Dr. Silvia Sarapura as a facilitator and postdoc Paul Benalcazar as a developer. In this stage, they cover background information and stories about plants, germination, and conditions, preparing participants and communities before an action takes place using cards, markets, toolkit infographics. It involves strategic planning, capacity strengthening, scenario envisioning, and foresight exercises. Engage in planning that draws on both traditional wisdom and contemporary foresight. It ensures that interventions are culturally grounded, community-driven, and future-oriented, preparing for challenges such as climate change, policy barriers, or socio-economic shifts. The second stage is learning in action. They share hands-on experiences in the seedling process, introducing basic concepts about seedling planting, watering, and fertilizing with the objective of be familiar with seed propagation, differentiate soil substrates, identify basic and fundamental seedling materials, and understand the role of biotic and abiotic conditions in germination, as well discussing the conditions for seedlings. This type of learning respects the dynamic, relational nature of indigenous food systems, where change and unpredictability are integral. It embeds traditional and Western knowledge sharing through hands-on, collective practice, and builds adaptive resilience and collective engagement in food systems facing environmental change. In the second day, March 6, 2025, they carry out the third stage learning from action. It is about create garden spaces for plants' nourishment and land connection.
We need 8 traits.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I feel like usually...
Calculation of seed number per area and conditions for indoor seedling. It involves critical analysis, evaluation, and documentation of experiences post-implementation. In the closing training sessions, they reflect on experiences, stories, and knowledge shared during the session, providing feedback about the session and plan the following activities in the project. Learning from action allows First Nations to document the braided food and knowledge systems for future generations while maintaining their sovereignty over narrative and knowledge.
Greenhouses that we have now are operating and
As part of this project, it is important the seedling maintenance to recognize indoor conditions for seedling problems, keeping registers and logbooks for proper seedling management. On May 23, 2025, Dr. Sylvia Sarapura and fellow postdoc Paul Benalcazar drove to the Thessaloniki First Nation Biocenter to document seedling growth and maintenance to ensure the health status of the plants for their future transplant in June 2025 in the First Nation communities that participated.
That's good to know.
they also have pheromones.
They are also
Yeah,
have
we can buy the pheromone, no? So that's fine.
Contribution to braiding indigenous food systems by integrating learning from action, learning in action, and learning for action. First Nations communities are better equipped to braid indigenous food systems through a participatory, adaptive, and resilient process.
So let's see here. So it's a little bit more. Yeah.
Respecting indigenous knowledge.
Yes.
Learning from action helps preserve and honor traditional food-related practices while critically examining their contemporary applications. Enhancing adaptivity, learning in action fosters real-time adaptability, a critical competency given the ecological variability and health challenges indigenous communities face. Building strategic sovereignty. Learning for action cultivates strategic capacities, enabling indigenous communities to anticipate external pressures and assert food sovereignty proactively. We would like to extend our most heartfelt thank you to all of the community members from Niganian, Biinjitiwaabik Zaaging Anishinaabek, Netmizaaggamig Nishnaabeg, and Red Rock Indian Band Lake Helen Reserve for their significant contributions, knowledge shared, feedback, and insight in the making of these toolkits. We are grateful for the generous funding and support for this project by the Ontario Agri-Food Innovation Alliance.